Get ready for it. Get ready for it.
Go away.
Get ready for it. Get ready for it. Get ready for it.
Go away.
My bad, guys. I went ahead and totally changed all the monster scenes in the final season of Stranger Things. It might be a little less thrilling for you hardcore fans now, but honestly, whenever things get too intense, I just have this urge to make the monsters disappear. Thank goodness LTX 2.3 lets me actually pull it off. This is an Inpainting Laura for LTX 2.3 made by an absolute legend in the community, released about a week ago. Here are the details. You can see there are 3 versions, 2500, 3000 and 10,000 steps. I didn't do a super nerdy side-by-side comparison, so I just went big and used the 10,000 step version for this. The original creator provided a ready-to-use workflow, but I've got 2 optimized versions from a couple of awesome creators that I personally think are way easier to use. The first one relies purely on prompts to replace specific content, super beginner-friendly. The second one pairs with a point editor to select exactly what you want to edit, giving you way more precision. I'll quickly walk you through both and you can pick your favorite. The prompt-only workflow is a piece of cake. Just drop the name of the thing you want to replace in the first text box, type what you want to turn it into in the second box. Plug in your video's width, height, frame rate, and length and hit generate. The mask generation and content replacement are 100% automated. Let's focus on the workflow with the point editor. It uses the 22B dev model, layered with a distilled LoRa, plus that Inpainting LoRa I mentioned earlier, all teaming up to form the complete model stack. The main things we need to tweak are the prompts and inputs on the left. This is the usual stuff you guys know: frame rate, length, width, and height. Just fill them in based on your video. Scrolling down, we have the audio reference module. Since the original sound in my example video is pretty good, I've got this disabled. If you need to change the audio, just hit Ctrl+B to enable it, and don't forget to turn on the audio editing module further down as well. Let's skip the prompts for a sec and look at what we're modifying in the point editor. The superpower of the point editor is precise control, like if you have multiple identical objects in a shot, but only want to change one of them. After all, sometimes models get confused by text prompts, especially when there's more than one thing to modify. For example, there are 2 baboons in this shot. First, we click the Run node right after it to render just one frame. On the left, set the start frame to 0 and the end frame to 1, which selects the very first frame. Once the image loads, drop a green circle on the baboon you want to replace and put red circles on everything else you want to leave alone. Make a mistake, just click a circle to delete it. To add them, Shift plus left click adds a green positive marker, the area to change, and Shift plus right click adds a red negative marker, the safe zone to keep. Quick heads up here, if the action in your video is super fast, you must select your areas very carefully, or the model will struggle to recognize it. Also crank up that frame rate as much as you can, otherwise your replaced character might look blurry. That's actually why I included some animal replacement clips later on. If the video is clear and the movement is smooth, the replacement effect is guaranteed to look way better. As you can see, after running it, the white area is the baboon we selected, but in the masked video above, the white masked area actually got bigger. This is controlled by the block size parameter in the Blockify mask node below. This number has to be a multiple of 8. If you set it to 8, the edges are tiny little squares that closely hug the baboon's outline. If you crank it to 32, the edges get chunky and blocky, which is perfect if you're swapping in something much bigger. After that, we jump back to the prompt input module. All you have to do here is type in the object or creature you want to swap in. I kept it super simple here, like a fat panda, but feel free to go wild with highly detailed descriptions. Of course, the built-in edit and replace feature in LTX 2.3 doesn't support motion transfer post-copying right now. While making the demo, I noticed that super fast movements can make the replaced character look blurry or glitchy, so I dug up a motion imitation workflow based on LTX 2.3 for you guys. I tested it with some dancing clips and it's ready for you to use. It totally nails character replacement in highly dynamic scenes. I'll be uploading this workflow along with the previous two to Runninghub, the cloud workspace I literally use every single day. Look, I'm just learning AI and ComfyUI as a side gig, and my company definitely isn't buying me a high-RAM beast of a PC, so I started out learning workflows on cloud platforms, and it seriously lowers the barrier to entry for these open-source tools. I know some folks in the comments say I'm just shilling the platform, but for a user like me without crazy expensive hardware, this is absolutely the most cost-effective way to experiment without going broke. Seriously, go check the price tag on a PC with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and you'll get why I do this. If you sign up using the link below the video, you get 1,000 free trial credits, plus another 100 free points every day you log in. Anyway, back to business. The quality of this motion transfer workflow is honestly a bit lower than WAN's, but its biggest flex is that because it runs on LTX 2.3, it generates stupidly fast. It's totally fine for just having fun and experimenting. Let's check out this workflow. It's also from a wizard who specializes in motion transfer workflows. This one includes Quen Edit's first frame inpainting feature, which edits automatically to ensure the character's pose in the redrawn first frame perfectly matches the original video starting frame. It also stacks double control nets, a depth map, and a DW pose controller to lock in that motion consistency. I personally think this workflow is incredibly useful. The only catch is that stacking all these modules eats up a ton of VRAM. Even on Runninghub, I highly recommend using the Plus version with 48 GB of VRAM to avoid the dreaded out-of-memory error. On the left is our input section. You can just leave the width and height at the default 720x1280, no need to mess with it unless you need to swap the numbers for portrait versus landscape video. Below that is the multi-person toggle. Flip it on to try transferring motion to a group. At the very bottom is the first frame redraw switch. A quick warning here, the framing of your reference image must match the framing of the person in the video. If they're half-body, use a half-body reference. For example, when I tried using a half-body reference to match a full-body dancing video, I ended up with this big-headed, stubby-legged dancing blob. Sure, it was cute, but definitely not the result you want. So, this switch makes sure the redrawn first frame matches the exact pose of the original video's starting frame for a much better final result. What you're looking at right now is the camera angle and pose from the original video's first frame, and this one is the redrawn reference image. The whole workflow will use this reference as the anchor to complete the motion transfer. The model we're rocking is Quen Image Edit Remix AIO. AIO models are really solid at handling motion. Down below is the skeleton pose map extracted from the first frame of the original video. You need to turn off facial reference here. Oh, and here's a side-by-side comparison of the redrawn first frame. Moving further down to the video sampling section, it uses a distilled model paired with the official control LoRa. I recommend setting the parameters somewhere between 0.5 and 1, but you can tweak it based on your results. On the right, you'll find the upload slots for your reference image and original video. I suggest uploading a video with at least 30 frames. If the first frame of your video isn't clear enough, you can choose to skip frames and pick your favorite one to use. Next up are the processing modules for the video depth map and skeletal pose map, which eventually spit out a blended processed video. Heads up, control net with depth control can sometimes mess with the colors or accidentally mistake the background for a person. If it messes up your final result, just turn off depth control or lower the weight and run a few test rounds. In the prompt box at the very bottom, just type a simple description of what the character in the reference image is doing. Once you've got this all set up, you can generate motion imitation videos for literally any character. Go ahead and play around with it. That's all for today's share. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and save this video. See ya.